Misrach just sounds like a good girl to me. She is someone who, I guess she was a junior in college, and this eating club was interesting. I went to college a long time ago, and it wasn't an Ivy League, I'll tell you that. But I didn't know anything about eating clubs, and it's not a sorority per se, but I guess there are 11 on campus, or there are a bunch on campus, and she just happened to work on this night. So, and we know as astrologers that we look at the sixth house if we're looking at working, which will come into play here. So a little bit more about Misrach. She was 5'4". She originally was from Ethiopia and then moved to Ohio in 2008, and just seemed like she was the pride and joy of her family. A really ambitious and kind young person. That's the impression I get anyway. This is actually for the 21st. And what I took from this, I know it says the 19th, but it's wrong. That's from my last chart. What happened with Misrach, I think, was that maybe she was seen coming back at 3 a.m. I'm not sure I believe that. If that's the truth, I think she was called to another place, that maybe she forgot something, but she had to walk back to another building. And that's where maybe an after party was happening, and she got invited. So she put her clothes back on and then moved across campus. And that really was the last place that she was seen.
Timing, in the psychic world, timing can be a hard thing, because you've got this almost bending of time. So even if I'm like, let's say going after a missing animal, I'm following from kind of the beginning, I'm tracking. So I have to keep this time in order. And of course, they want me to get the exact place at the exact time. But honestly, I have to go through the motions and the steps to get there.
Okay.
And then it gives me tracking. For instance, with this girl, yes, there was this food thing that was going on earlier, but I also saw her going back to her residence. Okay. And then going back out.
The Ascendant, which represents Misrach, is in Leo. And what can that do? It can describe what is around the victim. It can describe a name of someone, even if it's a witness or the perpetrator, and can describe what they're doing. So Leo is to have fun. And at this point, I think she's having fun, or she's being asked to have fun. She knows the people, she's got some friends, and I'm just looking at the sextiles right now. I'm coming out of the Ascendant here, looking and seeing what she might be seeing. She might be seeing a group of men that are her friends, or that are maybe even like a fraternity with the 11th house. And let me put on the custom graphics here. Could mean two men, could mean brothers. Okay, so as in brothers in a fraternity, that's a possibility. Okay, maybe she was invited somewhere. Then you have a sextile over to the 3rd house, and that's really the neighborhood. It's what she might be doing as well. She might be in the neighborhood. She might be on foot at this point. The 3rd house might show that she's even walking in the neighborhood, but there are cars around her. And you had mentioned you saw something. Is that right? About a car, maybe?
I saw a white car.
Okay. And a white car.
It was more of a smaller car, actually. Not a truck, not an SUV, but a smaller car. I mean, it could have been an SUV. I am getting Subaru as one brand, but
okay,
I'm getting, I believe, white car.
All right. Well, in the third house here, there is Libra, and that is beauty, it's music, it's, writing. It's almost like a band that's writing lyrics. You know, those types of possibilities are probably less possible at 2:30 in the morning, but it could be members of the band. Remember, she was around a band that night when she was volunteering at the club. So at 2:30, now the moon is the co-ruler for Misrach, and she is in the moon is in the first house, and it is trining Uranus. Uranus is really, it's incredibly strong here. Why? Because it's on an angle, and you can see the angles by the bold lines. There are 4 angles, and we always look to those angles to get some clues. So with the moon trining Uranus, it could be something that's really surprising, but there is some kind of fakery around it because you have North Node. Good idea.
Mhm.
But moon trine Uranus to me, and you guys let me know what you think about that. I'm not sure, but that could be a welcome surprise, like, oh, you want me to go here, or oh, you guys are meeting there. But at this point, it's at 2 o'clock. Okay, so it's 30 minutes before her key card was inserted into her dorm. So it's very possible maybe she is still working, maybe she hasn't gotten there yet. But the third house, I think, is a huge clue, because this is like, when you look at these houses, when you see planets, the planets are often humans or people. When you have Mercury there, that's like a group of people. Then you have Venus, which is a group of women. Then Venus and Sun is a blonde woman, a beautiful blonde woman. This could be a group of beautiful blonde women. And
Well, you weren't there, right?
thanks, Todd. I'll give you your
So,
$5. Will you take 2? But Mars, it's interesting that with the trine to Mars, this is almost like a fraternity. Do you think this is like fraternity or sorority stuff?
yeah, I do, but also I'm getting little groups, and like I told you in the beginning, I'm getting all girls. And yes, the blonde definitely stuck in my mind, as well as um, somebody a little on the, I would say, dark hair, very light skin side. I'm getting a lot of girls, and that was what I was first getting. Also, a private room. I'm getting a room. I believe there's books on the wall. I'm getting a low coffee type table. Um, and here's the other thing about the mood that night. I don't feel that she was in the best of moods. I'm getting a very somber sort of feel from her.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, with Libra in the third house and Mercury there, that can mean feelings about a relationship. So maybe it's
Okay.
possible
Yep.
that she's thinking about somebody that it doesn't share feelings, or maybe she broke up with someone. I don't think that has come out at all, but that's a
And
possibility.
I'm also, and I hate to say this, I'm also getting a teacher alert.
What's that mean?
It means that one of her teachers or seniors needs to be questioned as well.
Okay, that's interesting. I would also,
And I believe he's male.
okay, so a male teacher. What's interesting is about Saturn in the sixth, that shows a worker. And it is trining that group of ladies. So I guess that would explain them working or just finishing working. And they're talking about it. They're talking about work. They just finished up at a music club. So that would describe Libra. So we got all these blondes talking about their relationships and their music and that they are just finishing work. And why don't we go see these guys, which would be that trine to Mars up in the 11th? Do you want to join us? But I did see what's interesting about the Ascendant is that it goes into Regulus. Regulus you often see with sororities and like prom king, prom queen. There's lots of kings and queens, and that's why Leo, is often a representative of that. So I think that supports the sorority fraternity thing. So we've got blonde hair. We've got more than one female.
Do you get anything in the chart relating to any kind of drugs?
Yes, and I put that on. I put that on Instagram earlier today. I did the asteroid Molly, and it's like all over the place. So I think there might have been some MDMA, also known as Molly or ecstasy, happening.
Okay.
But with one big strong clue too is Uranus opposes the South Node in Scorpio. We saw the South Node in Scorpio with the Sean Doherty case, and that shows something that's left behind in Scorpio that shows like sexual fluid, like semen.
I'm seeing that too, actually, in this.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is not a detail that I'd like to share, but I'm for some reason feeling she was on her period.
Okay, so that she couldn't, or maybe I don't know.
Just something about that. Just I'm not seeing trauma blood, but I'm seeing it, somewhere else.
Well, the sun would be the body. Blood is Venus. So isn't that interesting how Venus is the same degree as the sun, which is her body? So that's very possible.
Okay.
And it's squaring, I don't think I've ever talked about this on a crime chart before, but it squares Pluto, which is like she's on, she's got PMS or she's dealing with something that is
The body wasn't feeling right. That's what I'm getting. Like, we often think of the students and colleges, the party that I just from her, I'm not getting that excited feel. I'm getting I feel like my joints are kind of stiff and that fatigue sort of thing. I'm also getting a clue about her shoes for some reason. I don't know why. Huh.
Well, shoes would be Pisces. It would be, I guess in this case, it's 8th house. So ruled by Jupiter. And it's squaring one of these guys. So I don't know, maybe he has something to do with these shoes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And when you have a Mars squaring Neptune, which represents drugs, and I believe the personal name asteroid Molly is right here. But
another note, I also see a pipe.
A pipe, okay.
But like a not a tobacco pipe, but a drug pipe of some sort.
Okay.
Like I'm getting, what is that? Opioids or something?
Yeah. Smoking meth or something.
It could be.
Okay. She doesn't seem like she would do that. I think that maybe she was just in this environment where they were doing a lot of it, and to show that they were doing it in a way that was very proactive, a polite way of putting it, would be Mars squaring Neptune. Mars squaring Neptune is like You'll see that in birth charts of people who are drug addicts or they're just too forceful when it comes to drugs. They've got to have it. They can't get enough.
I'm getting an accident.
Okay. Maybe too many drugs and
Well,
yeah.
and definitely, as you were saying, I guess with your Aries aspect or something, perpetrator, but by accident.
I still see that 18 degrees, and that represents the perpetrator. This person isn't really thoughtful of others. We call it the mean or the evil degree. But
Yeah,
sometimes it's like somebody who just doesn't care, doesn't have much care of others.
yeah.
But with the square there with Uranus, that shows that perpetrator was also surprised as well. And with Uranus so strong up
Uh-huh.
at the top, it could definitely describe an accident that involved drugs. But the problem is that you see that other stuff with, men pursuing women, um, then you've got sexual fluids and all of this, and then at the very top you've got an accident. So
I
I
don't think
guess
she's a drug addict either.
what's that?
I don't think she's into drugs.
Yeah, it didn't strike me that she was. She was just in a bad environment, and maybe somebody asked her to try it, which would explain Moon trining Uranus, because it's kind of like she just maybe she partook, and it even surprised her. Like it just happened to be there,
Uh-huh.
and that was that, and it was maybe, I don't even know what they call it, a strain or whatever. I think that's very
I'm
possible.
I'm also, and I don't know if you see this on the chart, but I'm getting video, something.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of those themes. That would be Pluto in the sixth and sextiling Neptune. That's tons and tons of video and pictures. But in
Oh,
the eighth house, that's sexual pictures.
yeah,
It's
that's
like, what's an accident and what's intentional here? But I
it's
think that we're narrowing down that this is a party.
something. I'm getting a second floor. I'm also getting a number 2, and I was also getting letters like A, B, C, or something related to rooms, that kind of thing. Originally, I came up with a number 3 in an address, but as I'm going through, I'm seeing pockets of rooms. I'm seeing hallways, her time in the kitchen area. I see her by a large, very large refrigerator.
It almost sounds like a dorm that you're talking about.
It's a place that's been added on and added on, large hall, small rooms around. I feel that she was back at her place at one time. I see a lot of girls around her, and the blonde hair definitely rings true of that. Um, but Lana asks if she was given something without her knowledge. I'm feeling she partaked in this just
Yeah. Well,
from.
they did have the law enforcement officers did say that her phone was pinging in that apartment building, which kind of sounds like what you're describing, Todd.
I think she was brought to the final place that she was,
Okay.
and I I don't know if this is important, but sexuality wise, I'm also feeling she spends a very good amount of time with women.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. And that would be
I mean,
let me retract that. We have an aspect to the ascendant. So, and this is Misrach. So that's possible with Neptune there. There's like without boundaries with women. That's a possibility. There's a Yod here too, a Yod, which is Pluto and Neptune to her. That's also a clue, I think. What were you going to say, Todd?
Just about, then I don't always do this, but college is a place of study and interest. So I was also looking at her interests of study. I was getting engineering. I'm
Okay.
also getting medical science type stuff. I'm getting influenced by her father. I'm feeling that her studies would have been quite a long ordeal of almost a 6-year study
Okay.
term, which means that I don't think this is a student just studying basket weaving. I think this is a
Uh,
student with I'm getting doctorate, something like that, master and doctorate degree.
okay.
Um, so we're
Okay.
talking a gifted girl.
It's just it's awful. A couple of observations here, just for people who are coming in with third house. Third house is people who are on the move, they're walking somewhere. Libra is usually beauty and music.
Mhm.
We've got Venus here, which is a female. Sun next to Venus is um, blonde females. Mercury is a group, so a group of beautiful blonde females are in the neighborhood. And with part of fortune there, they're probably well to do. And the neighborhood itself is probably very beautiful. The third house also represents the neighborhood, as well as maybe transportation can show people on foot as well. So
Um,
either mean that they're walking or could mean that they're in like a beautiful car because Libra is beauty. So third house would be like a Maserati or something like that, or they could be in a neighborhood with those types of cars, but we weren't. But when I look at Saturn, whenever you have a line, now Saturn represents the perpetrator. We're going to get a description, we can get a name from the perpetrator's planet. And how do we get to this planet? Saturn is the symbol for the seventh house in this chart. So the seventh house represents the perpetrator, the ascendant represents the victim. Okay. And this kind of chart is for a lot of different types of scenarios. Like this chart, a chart would describe a marriage where you've got the groom and the bride. It can describe a basketball game where you've got the home team and the away team or the visiting team.
mm,
There are a whole bunch of different scenarios, but when you're going to use this in a crime scene, you're going to look at it as the victim, and then you're going to look at the seventh as the perpetrator. So we've got Saturn. Now, Saturn means old, it can mean dark complected. Okay. And at 18 degrees, as I said, it's like the mean degree, the person who might have an evil streak. Okay. It being
yeah, I'm getting somebody with some mental issues.
okay. And what's really interesting about this line right here is things that touch the ascendant can show a name because the ascendant, when you have a birth chart, you can see what your name is based on where your ascendant is. And so in this case, the ascendant is either going to be Aquarius sounding, but I'm guessing it's going to be at Leo. And so in crime charts that I've looked at over the years, you're going to see in this case people who their name is Leo, their name is something after, maybe a president, Hamilton, or it could be, especially with these last degrees of Regulus, this is a royal degree. So the person's last name might have some kind of like a royal type of name. It might or a royal type of meaning. There was one crime chart where it was Leo, And the guy, the perpetrator's name, this was the House of Horrors. If I don't know if you remember this in Ohio, where the guy, I think he kidnapped these 3 girls for like 20 years and kept them in the basement. But
Mm.
his name was Castro. So it's like it was like a world leader. So anyway, that's what you're going to get with Leo. What I think his name might be could be Cleo, Leo, could be something with the last name Sun, like Pearson, Hanson,
I'm also
Jackson, that kind
getting
of
a
thing.
letter A too.
You're getting an A?
Hmm.
Sun, because Sun rules Leo. So a lot of times you're going to see Sun. You saw Bundy. Well, you saw crime charts where Bundy was the perpetrator, and his name growing up was Nelson. Not that anybody would know that when they were looking for him, but that would be an example. So that's a possibility to look for people who might have that kind of description. And then also with squaring Uranus, Uranus can mean to split in a variety of things. Like if you see this, say you were looking at Uranus and it was aspecting Mars or Mercury, which would mean car, it would show like a two-tone car. I'm well, we have some aspect here with Mercury here. So that actually might apply, I think, in this case, maybe a two-tone car.
I'm also getting a Volvo car.
Okay.
This
So Volvo
is secondary.
two-tone as a secondary. Okay.
I'm not sure two-tone, but
Okay.
um, uh, plate, the plate on it. I'm getting a lot of white. I'm not sure. I mean, I know New Jersey plates, but this one looks white. It's possible. It's possible it's a New York plate. There's a new plate for New York right now that's white.
Okay. So it might have new plates.
Very possible.
Oh, I'm just reading some of the comments. Lana and Kimberly. Wow, Lana said Alexander at about the same time Todd said he was getting an A. Oh, I wonder if that's a coincidence.
Well, Lana's in the next room to me, so I can hear what she's saying. I'm just kidding.
Now, Lana is asking, is seventh house friends too? What you're going to do is you're going to look at the 11th house for the friends and what's in the friends house. And 11th house can also mean organizations like fraternities. So I think I am going to put money on the fact that there is a fraternity. Could be a small fraternity because Mercury is small, but there's Mars in the 11th house. And a lot of people don't get this. And I think this is one reason that astrologers argue so much. They're like, no, it's this way. No, it's that way. It's because the way that these charts are made out is that you get 2 planets that give you a full description. Sometimes it can be more than 2 planets, but Mercury and Mars is a great example where Mars is metal around you, and Mercury is traditional for cars and transportation. In Vedic astrology, they even say back in the medieval ages, medieval times, that Venus was a car because it meant luxury. So, but right now, these days, I just look at Mars and Mercury. So that can give us different descriptions or descriptions, a full description of, say, a car. But in this case, with Mars in the 11th house of organizations, we're talking a male organization because Mars represents a man. In Mercury, in Gemini, Gemini is a group. Gemini is more than one. So, group of men. And they are trining that third house, the third house where all those gorgeous women are. So they know them. They might be inviting them,
Mhm.
maybe because they're all friends. They all know each other. I think what's going to come out here is people are going to have different alibis, and it's going to cause a problem. And I'll tell you what represents an alibi in these charts is the North Node. And let me see here. Circle it right here.
They're
That's
gonna also question people in general, and
yeah.
I hate to kind of I don't usually get like a conclusion
Mhm.
on these, but I see a guy in handcuffs.
Yeah,
That
they're gonna get him. Absolutely,
I
and
see a guy in handcuffs. I thought I was getting dark hair,
okay. Which would
and
be Saturn, dark.
but when I was doing this, and just to tell people, it's really confusing. And what's so confusing is the number of kids. I'm seeing all the girls, and then I'm seeing
Yeah.
I'm seeing a black man with these like long fingers, and then I'm getting, but this guy, this kid, and the feeling I'm getting is actually not the aggressive sort of male, that you're going to get in a case like this, but I'm getting truly like anxiety and frightened, um like what have I done sort of feel. That's
From the perp himself?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
With
just
this trine to the 11th house of organizations and also to the house of beautiful women, it shows that they know him. Maybe he's the one that has the drug that he didn't realize how potent it was or what have you. That's
the
possible.
the act of sexuality. I'd be surprised if they don't turn out anything, because I'm getting kind of brutal. um
Really, like a rape.
Very possible.
Mhm.
Very possible. I'm getting also, in this case, I'm also getting other people who might know.
There's definitely more than one person that knows. And with this, whenever you see retrograde on a planet that represents the perpetrator, that shows that the perpetrator is weak, that they're flawed. They came to the event itself just
Mhm.
not at full strength. And with this square to Uranus, that shows that that person is in complete shock about something that they
Mhm.
were not expecting, or could be really shocking because you see a T square, which is that's what we call this triangle, where it's a very forceful energy. And in Scorpio, that's the sex part. Um, and it's with Saturn here. Well, the eighth house shows the description of death, and it's obviously drugs, and with Chiron in Aries can often show a blow to the head, something.
Was getting that too.
Okay, you were getting some kind of, and it
Mm.
doesn't necessarily mean Misrach. I mean, it's possible other people were hurt after this and they don't want to get in trouble and they're keeping quiet. But because Mars now, going back to what I said about how planets can mean different things. So now we look to Mars as okay, Mars is the police because that's what it represents. And you see this trine to Saturn, which is the perpetrator, and that shows that they're going to get him. They know who it is and they're going to get him. But I'm sure it must be uncomfortable, to say the least, for the family because they think right now that the police are going to say suicide or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying that online.
I don't think so. I also felt wet. I felt wet. Like, I don't know if it was raining that night or raining during that time, but I also felt wet.
Okay. That's very interesting. We'll have to look that up. Okay, so let's look at some of these comments. Yeah, the information from the charts can sometimes be shocking, especially when you're brainstorming with others. And it's with Todd's visions, it really brings the chart to life. Oh, David says, "Wow, Todd, it rained heavy that day."
Okay.
So David, he was interested in this. In fact, I believe it was David that requested that we do this reading, and I saw it this morning, and I thought we should do that. And David's also saying it was that Thursday she went missing. So when I see Thursday, they're like Friday, Thursday because of the news reports. But was it Thursday at like 3 a.m. or was it Friday at 3 a.m.? It doesn't matter too much with these charts, thankfully. But okay, he's saying Friday, so 3 a.m. on Friday, I think it was, where quote unquote it was the last scene. So there's also something else you saw too about. I was telling you they were taking her out of the woods there, or the trees, and the police had to, I don't know if it was the police, but whoever, the searchers, they had to cut the trees to get her out.
Well, I think they it felt like they in order to get you know, what do you call it, the carrier in there or something. It's kind of like you're not just going to grab somebody and bring them over your shoulders and walk them out. It's kind of like in order to get the equipment in there, I think they cut that. They feels like small trees.
Okay. Yeah. So we're talking about, we've got plenty of witnesses. We've got plenty of people to polygraph. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely.
And one thing that was suspicious too, which I read, was the family said not many people said anything to them, which when people are quiet, there's a reason for that. If it's a normal type of situation where the friends don't know anything, they're going to be calling, they're going to be coming over, they're going to be saying, "What can I do?" And I'm getting the impression that it was like crickets.
Yeah.
So
Was she discovered by a female?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Getting a female. I'm getting somebody in athletic wear too.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Let's see who found her. I think David might know. There was somebody that saw her that it was like 1 p.m. that day. It was 6 days later. And just so everyone knows, I know most of you know, but Todd tells me not to tell him anything about these cases. I simply give him the name. What is it? The city
Where?
I give you, and then
Yeah.
the last scene time. And sometimes it comes out slowly. It's like you'll tell me this or that, and then as soon as we really start talking about it, it just comes out.
It's
So
it's the way it's done, because a lot of times, when I'm working on these, from maybe some evidence that was, found, let's say maybe there was a knife was found, all of a sudden it sparks me into another series of visions about the hand that was on it, or the smells of this too. I smell a lot of alcohol.
okay. So there was a party.
A lot of beer.
All right. This was a frat party. And people at first, when they're reading about this, I think there was something about people being on fall break. So I instantly thought, oh, okay, it must have been empty. But your visions say otherwise, that there were people coming and going.
There was a camera on a laptop with, I believe, a webcam or something in this room or this place. I'm getting
Jesus.
one of these Yeah, one of these computers has got something of filming.
Okay.
Felt
And
like
that
filming
is,
was so significant.
yeah, that's supported, like I said, with Neptune, which is photos and video, and that's sextile Pluto, which is that can be sex video. It can be Pluto means sex,
Hmm.
rape, but it can also mean a lot. It can mean like 100 photos are taken, 500 photos are taken, whatever.
I
It's
almost felt like she was standing up. That's what I get
standing,
too.
like while she was being photographed.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Okay. So, so I think we've got somewhat of a theory here where she was invited to what she might have otherwise thought was just a party where people were drinking beer. And let's remember, when you're in college and you've got a group of very wealthy, beautiful women around you that say, "Come on, we got to go see whatever his name is, Alexander." Um, you're going to go because it's going to seem like it's fun. But in this case, she walked into a lot of trouble. It's it's interesting that it was just, and I shouldn't say just, but it was Misrach. Like you would think that there were a few other people who were harmed as well. I'm not sure though.
Well, I'm kind of glad I didn't go to college, although, I took the um, online course from Walmart for psychic studies. It's 29.95 plus shipping and handling, and it
I wish I had
makes you a
thought,
psychic in about 3 days. So it's a good deal.
you got a better deal than I did. I went to 4 years and I never used my degree. But anyway, that's besides the point. At least you're using that Walmart degree. And one thing too about this moon here, moon is in Virgo in the first house. I don't even know if this is the right time. I just backed it up to 2 a.m., like what she could have been doing. And that gives them up to 3 a.m. to say that that's the last time they saw her. So I'm thinking they're probably partying, but we'd have to see what time she got off of work.
I
But
get false reports too.
okay,
False witness,
false
like
witness. Okay.
like dude, I just don't know. I thought I saw her, but it could have been this other
Yes,
gal,
that's in the chart. Yeah, Mercury here is the witness,
Mhm.
and you're aspecting the North Node, which is false. So false witness, absolutely, probably probably a female or two. So the I still think that they're going to find this person with or without these false witnesses, but these people have never been in a crime before, and I have a feeling that it's going to start coming out. I think it's a great idea that the family is getting independent investigation. Todd, you and I have seen on a number of cases that when you don't do that, you end up with no answers, and then you end up with the police saying, well, it was probably a suicide because they don't want to scare everybody in the environment. In here or on with this crime, they don't want to scare everybody on campus, all those people who have a lot of money to go to Princeton.
There's
So
yeah.
I think it might make sense to have that independent investigation, but
I think another lead in here is getting a short girl who might know information about this as far as who the perpetrator might be. This is somebody that she was pretty close to in college. Um, for some weird, I got a name Nina for some reason too. Um,
okay. Do you think this is the one that you're talking about, or is this another girl?
I'm not sure actually.
And the I missed the description that you gave about the female that you were just talking about.
Yes, shorter. Something about groceries. Something about groceries. I'm wondering if maybe this female, you said it was there was a food party or something?
Yes, yeah. Mhm.
Somebody who was possibly in charge of getting food, groceries, that kind of thing.
Okay.
She's shorter, possibly darker skin, but I'm not quite certain about it. Her eyes look like she either wears glasses or something too.
I wonder if that's an alibi. I don't know how, and I don't know anybody who would go
Yeah.
grocery shopping at that hour, but
Well,
possible.
I'm talking about somebody who she would have seen earlier in the evening
Okay.
and knowing about who that she might have been around later on. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, so I try to find these lead-ins, these angles. Who knows the suspect who was around her, who heard the name mentioned, who, you know what I mean? Was this a surprise attack? I'm getting consensual in a way, not surprise.
Well, if you've got a group of people, there is going to be that anyway. As
Yeah,
far as she's concerned, well, maybe at first she was having fun.
yeah.
And Leo is that's the sign for sex and having fun, recreational drugs. Leo can also mean drugs as well. So there's just a lot of fun. There's an organization. There's a lot of men and women. There are
Mhm.
a lot of people who are holding on to a secret, and they're all going to have different alibis. Some of them are going to be fake, probably the ones that are closest to her. But I think this guy's going to be arrested. I really do.
Well, I think you were right before, though. Actually, I think they already know who it is.
Okay.
I think that they're keeping really quiet about this. They have handed this case over to other authorities, it feels like. Or you said the family was hiring some of their own people?
At least somebody to investigate or to do an independent autopsy. So
Okay, but I'm also getting other police officers. So
okay.
there's the small, um, there's the, state police, and then there's a small town. I'm getting another branch coming in. It actually feels like sheriff's office.
Okay.
And yeah, so there was something found near her body that might be some kind of clue or evidence, like a piece of paper or something.
Okay. Let's see here. I don't see that at all. The only thing, well, it's in the third house, and that's like a short article,
I
but
get
I'm not sure.
pockets too. I get pockets. So people must have been wearing coats and stuff like that. Um,
Okay.
I'm getting pockets and
Like she has pockets?
yeah. And I just keep getting a piece of paper that might have a name or something on it.
Okay. That would be Mercury. Mercury would be a name, what someone is called,
Hmm.
and that's in Libra, and it does trine Saturn. So that could be goes by the name of black because Saturn is black. That would be an example. Let me show you in the chart. Okay. So we have Saturn is black. All right. That's one name it could be. Then you've got a trine to Mercury. Mercury is what someone is called. So, and third house is writing, the house of writing and communications. It could be a phone too. Um, so yeah, it could definitely be a piece of paper where there's writing. And once all of this comes out, our conversation, I think, will will shed some light on some things. And what I'm going to do, as I usually do, I'm going to make this an edited version. So I apologize for those who want to stream this tomorrow. I'm going to give you a copy of this, just cut up so that you can get to all of the clues in a much faster way. So, but we got a lot here. I think I was really interested in the Volvo, and you got some other good things. A white car.
Yeah, getting cars is I don't always go into like a brand or a type of car, but I have to sometimes. They want to know, if I'm describing like a Jeep, they want to know, are the tires normal? Are the tires big? Is there something customized on the car?
Mhm.
I get some hard questions thrown at me, but I try to find that stuff because um, that usually helps. It helps them to narrow it down. And one time I was on a case down in Florida. I was working on a stolen dog actually, and I was pretty shocked because I think I described a Toyota. I believe the age of it was in the 90s, something like that. And it turned out the color, the make, um, actually the model, Toyota something, and
Mm.
the year, yeah. So everything just like it was pretty freaky. Not that I'm not surprised, but um, if I name a car too, in some of the cases, it could have been a car parked next to it, So I'm
Right. You're just seeing that picture. I'm also going to say that this groceries thing is going to come into play because of Taurus. Taurus is at the top. It's the strongest clue here because what we call planets at the top of the chart is elevated. An elevated planet is very, very strong. And we have Uranus right on the MCs, probably the strongest clue here. And it's in Taurus. Taurus means weed. It can mean weird weed. It can mean the smell of weed because of North Node right next to it, which looks like a horseshoe there. That is fake. It is smoke. It is like smoke and mirrors, really. But it's also a smell, so you can smell weed.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
wait
that
a minute. Now,
asphyxiation was the cause of death here.
yes, and it's right in the neck area now because of Chiron in Aries. I want to say up below to the head, but with Uranus in at the last degrees of Taurus, that's usually asphyxiation. So that's a possibility. And in the third house, I forgot this part. The third house shows an apartment. Sometimes it can mean a yard or right outside of a home, but these people are in an apartment, I think, or a
Yeah, yeah,
small place.
definitely.
Yeah, so that apartment is going to have a lot of evidence, I think.
There were windows, wherever she was found, there were windows facing, a view facing that area.
Okay.
And I really don't, I just getting the feeling that she was brought there.
Another clue too is Uranus means evidence. So, and a trine to Moon in Virgo. Virgo is like the kitchen. It's the home or where people cook, maybe. So they may find some evidence in the kitchen, or may be looking for it. So
I'm a Virgo. My kitchen doesn't look very tidy at the moment. That's
that's
a bad
shocking.
Virgo thing. Yeah,
That is shocking. Well, I think we got a lot here. I'm really interested that you got a name, which was Nina tonight.
that was weird. I'm not sure if that's relevant, but like if I want to put letters out, so we talked about letter A with a man. I also got a letter J too, but that felt more like a woman or girl. Um, I'm getting only other clue for a letter is possibly an R.
Okay. TJ's saying her kitchen doesn't look so good either.
Okay, well, I'll clean yours if you clean mine.
No? Okay, stop it. Now, what okay, can I just ask, what was I wrote down guy with guy with glasses. That's a big one. What I'm gonna do, guys, is, I'll just put together all these clues and put it on Instagram at Forensic Astrologer. You can go there on Instagram tomorrow and see everything we've got. Feel free to share and comment when I put up the copy of this, because otherwise we don't see any of your comments. But, if you think of it. What's that, Todd?
I am getting some tattoos in this suspect.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I mean, with this generation, of course, but I get his arms are like he works out.
Okay, that would be Leo.
And I'm trying to see what the tattoos say on them. I get something about possibly a planet tattoo. That's weird. I also got the word voice for some reason.
Okay.
Um,
Word voice.
and what's an avatar?
Like an avatar?
That's
What's
why.
really weird is
Oh,
her
an avatar is one of those little figurines?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I got a significance about avatar, like maybe a tattoo was an avatar.
Okay. That's a big clue. And another thing too, what was I just gonna say? Oh, you know what's really weird is that, not to say that the family has anything to do with this, which I don't think they do,
No,
but her brother, his name is Universe. Isn't that interesting?
that was weird. I also got a sister. Does she have a sister?
I think she has quite a big family, but I'll have to check tomorrow.
Okay.
What about the sister?
Father, very serious person.
Mhm.
Mom is a very active sign. She's an active person. I'm getting very much a doer type for the mom.
Okay.
And
Night, ladies. Everyone's going to bed.
but nothing really nothing there that's significant to this.
Okay.
And I also look at everything. I look at what was she doing the week before. Who was she seeing? All
Yes.
those little tiny things go in my head like 100 miles per hour going, and then I get a little flash like, whoa, wait, that's important, or no, that's not important. I'm getting a lot of the feeling of the week before for her felt like a lot of traveling or something. So I'm seeing going places or having to, I don't know,
She's
run
probably
back
moving
home.
in.
Yeah, or something.
Hmm.
So I get a lot of out
Okay.
in the city, not on the campus,
Okay.
maybe traveling.
Interesting.
Um, like a busy, busy time.
All
But
right.
the thing is, I really don't get a lot of interaction with um, uh, relationships with her.
Yeah. I think that makes sense too, because she just seems like a very studious person, very serious, maybe just has some close friends. I don't know. Anyway, well, thank you once again, Todd, for all your clues. I'm going to have them on my Instagram tomorrow, like I said, at Forensic Astrologer. And feel free to, once we get a copy of this up, if you feel like coming back and giving us a comment or a like, we would really appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing. And thanks, Todd. I hope we see you soon.
Don't forget to take the cup off your table there, okay?
You freak me out every time. Will you stop doing that? Oh, and how you can find Todd. Todd, tell them where you can be found.
You can go to my website. It is toddsegalpsychic.com, or just look up my name, Todd Segal, and I'll get you to my Facebook page, where I try to put some kind of weird humor on every day. I'm really not good at social media, but I'm on there quite a bit, and
You're pretty good.
I also do free questions. I go sometimes on Facebook, or I'll go live on YouTube. And last time I did that, I had over 200 comments on there, and I said I gotta shut down.
I know. I love your shows. You just like tune in. I love the ones where you're like telling the ladies about the guys they're dating, and it's pretty amusing. And I'm sure you're right too.
Yeah, well, I definitely, people will come and give me feedback later on. I will always hear back from people that something. I mean, I just talked to a woman, actually, I was doing that for, who had a very rare form of what they called a breast cancer, and I found out from her about 6 months later that she said I was right. It wasn't cancerous. It was some kind of something that was, it's rare, but it's not a cancerous thing, and she was relieved.
Well,
So
you told me, you just shocked me. You told me 6 months before it happened that a family member of mine, where they would get cancer next. And it was, at the time, it was like, I wonder if that's true. And it was spot on in the spine, and it completely was not even part of the doctor's assessment 6 months earlier. So I was just, when I found that out, I was floored. So I'm a fan, Todd.
Well, I'm, you know what? I'm your fan too. I find it very interesting. I'm learning about astrology as I'm doing this, because, I usually get my little daily horoscope and I yell at it. Experience with astrology.
We're going to have to do a deep dive on some of the things that are far past your sun sign. But anyway, I am going to let everybody go. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
Bye, Todd.
Bye.